I wasn't going to make this video about Faze and all the recent drama they got into, because honestly, I feel like we talked enough about Faze and their failing stock. But I went to my personal trainer this morning, and he brought the drama up to me. And this guy does not watch any Twitch or YouTube. So I figured you guys might also be curious. Let's talk about Faze, which always starts with how they're not really phasing the fuck up with their stock price. That's just not phasing the fuck up at all. They are less than 50 cents right now. They're worth about $31 million, even though a year ago, they were worth about $400 million, at least according to Forbes. Now, I think, honestly, all these numbers could have one digit sliced off and it'd be a little more accurate. But the fact remains that if you go to any random person on the street and you ask what Faze is, there's a high chance they know. And if you ask what TSM is, they might think you're trying to sell them a multi-level marketing scam. But I feel like Faze is not what they used to be. Now, I was a kid, all right? After sophomore year in high school, I would want to go home and play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and shoot clips like Faze Fakey Got Game. But I feel like that's not what they are anymore. And I feel like that point was driven across really well by Faze Tico. Now, he's a long-time content creator for Faze. He's been a creator for 10 years. I'm not really sure if he's still with Faze, but to be fair, he doesn't even know if he's still with Faze because he doesn't have a contract with them anymore. In fact, the last contract he had was the same exact contract that Tfue had. The one that like takes 80% of all of your profits. That's what he was on. So he got out of that, but they didn't give him a new one, but they still asked him to do shoots and stuff with Faze. And then he was also given no ownership, even though he's dedicated the bulk of his life to growing Faze as a brand. And he was, I think, rightfully upset in this video, talking about how it's weird that Snoop Dogg has percentage in the company, even though all he does is smoke a little bit of weed, phase up once a year, and then get a lot of money for that. It seems a little unfair, and it doesn't seem to reward the people who are actually making Faze what Faze is, which is a good question. What is Faze? Like, if you had to explain to an Uber driver what Faze is, what would you say? I think there are a few things. They're an esports team like org. They have competitors, most notably Atlanta Faze and their CS:GO team, which is really good. They're also like a talent agency with a bunch of creators under it. They're also a brand that collabs with people like Champion or Nissan or Manchester City, McDonald's, or even Nike. And then they're also like a content team. Like they make their own in-house content. But I don't know. A few of those businesses seem to be more distractions than actual good ideas. But they are all of those things. But I got curious after watching Faze Tico's video. Who owns Faze? Like, I think we know who the owners are. You know, you got Banks and Temper and Rain. But who actually owns it? And so I found the top 25 shareholders of Faze. Now, these first couple are part of the SPAC, the people who basically made Faze have the ability to go public, which makes sense. You trade off percentage of your company in exchange for the ability to go public. But Michael Treschow wasn't really familiar. All right, Lee Trink, that's the CEO, but Hubrig Limited, who's that? In fact, the only person who I know to be an owner, Faze Apex, Youssef, is the only person on this list. I don't see Faze Banks on here. I don't see Faze Temper, and I don't know, maybe they bought it through some shell company, but where are their shares, right? Even they don't have much in this company, it seems. So I did a little digging, and I found out that Faze has a very messy past, And I feel like the story is not all the way out there. I feel like it's always mentioned by disgruntled former Faze members about how, oh, we got screwed over here, or this went bad there. But reading through, seems like they've been screwed over 10 ways to Sunday, and they've given up pretty much all the ownership of their company over the past 10 years, mostly because it was run by, inexperienced kids who had way too much power and unfortunately gave it away. But this one story, I feel like paints the picture really well. So this is 2016. Let's go back. We're going back 7 years now. And there's this app called Hubrik, a Norwegian business app that's supposed to change social media. It's run by this guy named Sebastian. So he convinces Faze that they should merge together and that it's a great idea and that he'll give $10 million to this new entity, this new combination of Norwegian app in Faze Clan. They agree. They even get some funding from this guy named Michael Treschow, who's like some old ass dude who just happens to have a lot of money. Turns out this guy's mostly a con man. This guy was saying they were going to revolutionize apps and destroy Twitter, and that's how we got the money from Michael, and that's how we convinced Faze to join them. None of that really was true. Hubrik was a dying social media app, but the merger still happened, and that got Hubrik a lot of shares in the company. Now, there's probably way more details about this, but when we get down to it, Michael, the guy who invested the money, now owns 7% of Faze, and then Hubrik owns, or I guess Sebastian owns 3.3%, which is almost as much as the CEO. Fun fact, he was supposed to own 15%, but they hit him with the Mark Zuckerberg. They literally made his shares get diluted because they gave a bunch of shares to other people. So that's just one of probably the dozens and dozens of stories of Faze getting into bed with someone who's a mischievous actor who fucks them over, takes some percentage of the company, and then uses that percentage to, I don't know, make money, drive this shit into the ground. If you even look at their board of directors, none of these names are recognizable to me, with the exception of a one Calvin Snoop Dogg. Why is Snoop Dogg on the board of directors, but I don't see a single one of the original members on here? The average age of this board of directors is like 50. What the fuck do these guys know about how to run an esports org? Well, I think we know the answer based off the stock price. They know jack fucking shit. And then you might be wondering, well, where are the original founding members? Where do they get their money? Well, it's kind of written here in their SEC filings. During the years 2021 and 2020, the company had a retainer, a consulting agreement with the original founders, and they paid them, and this is over a 6-month period, $0.7 million and then $0.9 million. And then they did the same thing in 2022, and I don't know if they still do it, but they're basically just paying them to be advisors, and they're paying the group millions a year. So that's where they're getting their share. But it seems like they have no percentage to give out anymore. So I understand Faze Tico's frustration, but at this point, he's just arguing with a bunch of 50-year-olds in a room trying to figure out how the fuck to make this company work when they have no actual idea, because the company is supposed to be hip, modern, and create culture. And 50-year-olds, I'm sorry, they're just not going to be creating gaming culture. They're just not. They're just not going to do that. And now it seems like we're at a bit of a standstill because Faze is entering a bit of a doomsday scenario. They're going to announce their earnings and their financial results for quarter 4, March 30th, 2023, which will be very revealing. And I don't think the numbers will be very good. And that's a bit bad because according to NASDAQ rules, any company that fails to be above $1 for 30 consecutive days might be delisted. Now, they do get 6 months from the day they go under $1 to turn things around. But we're already, I think, 2 months into this 6-month period, and they've only gone down since then. So it's looking a bit tough. They are also, according to this article, on a fast track to run out of money. They've never been profitable and rely heavily on external investment. They have $43.9 million, or at least they did, as of September 2022, which is only enough to fund operations until November 2023. They're burning through, it sounds like, $40 million a year? Maybe more? That's crazy. On what? On what? On Phase 5 casting contest? Millions of dollars for what? 200 viewers on Twitch? Most of you guys have never even seen the show I'm talking about unless you saw my Mogul mail about it. So that's where Faze is at right now. Honestly, I don't know what'll happen. They have a very recognizable brand, but that only goes so far. You also have to have a company behind it in some sort of ethos. And I feel like none of the board of directors who collectively have prostates the size of a watermelon know what the fuck to do with it. But I know what to do with Faze. Simple. Beat their ass. That's it, baby. We got to kick them while they are down. The late, great Faze clan is going up against Moist Moguls today. And look, all right, although Faze is going downhill a little bit, they're still the big dogs in this fight. They still got $40 million in the bank. And what do we got? We got Ludwig and we got Moist Critical, who have put their money and minds together to create one of the best Valorant teams of all time. And this is one of the most important games that we will have all year, because if we win, we get to go to the midseason invitational, where the top 8 teams and challengers will all compete for big points and maybe some big money. So anyway, tune in. This happens very soon. It might be even live right now. Go support Moist Moguls. I'd appreciate it by watching the co-stream. There should be a link in the top right corner if you have Truffle. If not, just go over to my stream, and hopefully we beat Faze. And maybe if we beat them, we get phasing up. That's our thing now. We're going to take that from them. If they ever go bankrupt, we're taking phasing up. Anyway, what do you think about Faze? Are they going to go under? Are they going to turn it around? Maybe they'll get someone who actually knows what they're doing as CEO. Or not CEO, but board director. I don't know. Maybe Lee's good. I don't know. Anyway, see you later. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Goodbye. Hopefully we beat Faze today. If we don't, this is going to be a really awkward video. Surely we do, though. Surely.